Tough road victory out of Seattle, as you all know, hostile environment. We talked all week, really, from a spec standpoint, just executing in the elements. I thought Mr. Wright and Will did an unbelievable job of that. And I tell them all the time, this unit goes as far as those guys take us between, Poe, Mr. Wright, and Will, and, they continue to surge and continue to trend in the right direction, which is encouraging to see, always consistent, always looking for steady improvement. I challenge those guys each and every week, and they just keep answering the bell. So it's very encouraging to kind of see them trajecting in the right ways. We can kind of keep trying to find ways to stack W's and, each and every game from here on out just become more and more important and bigger. So with that, get ready for a tough division opponent coming in. The bank is going to be rocking. It's a big physical group that we up against. Got to make sure we're bringing our big boy pads. It's going to be a physical one. They do a lot of good stuff. Obviously, they got an all-pro returner back there that we got to make sure we're keeping in the bottle. Electric guy. He's going to talk his talk, walk the walk at the same time. So, we got to buckle up and get ready to get to it, man. We always excited, love the challenge. Looking forward to a nice, good home atmosphere.
What were you feeling in the moment with Theo when he picks off that pass, knowing that he's been a contributor on your side but hasn't gotten that many reps on defense?
Yeah, for sure. It's funny because, throughout training camp, Theo is always a guy he's like a ball magnet. The ball just always kind of finds him, whether it's in training camp, whether it's throughout practice during the week. He's always kind of been a guy that's got really great, you really can consider it being elite ball skills. It's kind of always Johnny on the spot, and he catches the ones that gets thrown to him, and he's always end up being in the right spot. So just kind of seeing him being able to have that closer, we call them those guys kind of the closer, for him to kind of have that closing moment. You got to love it, especially considering, again, man, you just, from a special team standpoint, you just groom these guys, and surely enough, you just kind of send them on their way. So he's heading in that direction soon. So love that he just continues to stack and maximize the opportunities that he's getting.
How tough were the conditions like for kicking in that game?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing going into it, Alec, I think the biggest emphasis is really focusing on the plant foot for Will, just kind of understanding the ground was just a little slick, really kind of reminiscent of the London game in a way, just kind of a little bit of a wet surface. And so, the biggest thing was just kind of making sure that we was getting real good footing from a plant standpoint, even from a field goal protection standpoint too, just making sure that when those guys are stepping and planting, they're not kind of losing their feet underneath themselves. So that was kind of the biggest thing. It wasn't really too windy. Wind wasn't really a true factor. It was more so just kind of the footing with the wet surface.
Just seemed like in general, Ryan had a confident day punting. What do you think went into that? And I guess how important was that last punt to pin them back?
Yeah, that was a huge, especially just kind of, it was kind of a situation where we'd love to pin them inside the 20, but also not give them an opportunity to return it at the same time, which we accomplished that, which was really good. But it all goes into the preparation for Mr. Wright week in and week out. I mean, he's very intentional with his work. Again, I challenge those guys. Poe challenges those guys, and we really expect the most out of them. And so he just prepared the right way, and it just goes into his process at the end of the day. And it's just good to see that practice execution kind of lead to game reality for us. So, he's playing with supreme confidence right now, which is really what you need at the position. Really, at all specs position is that mental fortitude to be able to uphold and withstand any and everything that could possibly come your way.
How does
More broadly,
Go ahead, Cal.
more broadly, how do you think he has been or is at pinning people deep?
I think he's been doing a great job of that, especially with it being kind of emphasis coming off of the year that he had last year. I think he's doing a great job of, adding more hang time to it, because what you're starting to see now is returners are getting a lot more aggressive in those sky situations where they're really kind of looking to return the football now. Seeing if they can possibly steal 5 to 8 to 10 yards and possibly get it from being a fair catch at the 8-yard line to see if we can return it to get it to the 17 at max. So what that requires requires a little bit more direction, requires a little bit more hang time. And so we kind of flipped the script just in terms of being able to see if we can put more of those balls, coffin corner kicks on the ticks of the sideline, maybe possibly putting it out of bounds or where we don't even give those guys an opportunity to return it. And so that's kind of where our mindset has kind of flipped a little bit. But I think he's done a great job with kind of pinning those guys inside the 10 and really taking a little bit more an aggressive line of saying, like, let's see if we can get them inside the 8-yard line rather than just a fair catch at the 10-yard line or the 12.
What are the keys to kind of like diversifying the golf shots, if you will, over time, the course of a punter's career?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is it's just a matter of the yard line. What type of line are we taking? Are we at the minus 45? Because it's a much different kick from the minus 45 versus the plus 47 or the plus 46. Golf terms, you got a pitching wedge versus you got let's call it a 9-iron. It's much different on how you want to kind of take that approach. And so with that, we do a ton of practice during the week in those sky situations. Are you on the left hash versus are you on the right hash? Are you minus the 50? Are you plus the 50? So with that, we're kind of sharpening up the tools from kind of understanding on what wedge you want to hit there.
Why do you think returners have gotten more aggressive at those, just because they can get a running start when it's a sky punt?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing with that being is probably because of kind of how the rules are. More times than not, really that punt side, kick side gunner is going behind the returner. So that way he's kind of being a shortstop in a way. So when that ball, let's say the returner does let it go, you have someone in position who's behind the returner to be able to be that backstop. So, returns are more so kind of looking at who's the gunner opposite. That basically, like, is that guy going to basically get there and have an opportunity to make it a catch tackle, knowing that the sky gunner, the punch side gunner is going to be going behind me and not front me up. So you kind of trying to play a game within a game because now let's just say that punch side gunner does front me up. Well, now I'll just let the ball go and hopefully get a good bounce and it rolls into the end zone. You don't have anyone there to be able to kind of stop it. So, it's all a matter of strategy that kind of goes into it too. But at the end of the day, it really, you try to tell your punter it's just you out there and no gunners.
Sorry, Trent was one of the kind of underrated signings maybe, or under the radar signings, but what has he meant to your unit?
Yeah, I think you look at it, man, this guy has consistently shown up on tape. And, we're talking about, special teams a lot of the times just playing in the ocean. And that's what you look at a lot of the tackles that he's making out there, being able to downshift, match a mirror, these elite ball carriers with the balls in their hands. He's doing an unbelievable job out there making open field tackles in the ocean. He's really kind of the pulse of the unit from an outside perimeter standpoint. He continues to show up. Again, this is a guy that hasn't really truly had a true, major special teams role since 2019. And so for him to kind of turn back the clock and get back into his bag, being able to have a true impact, says a lot. But again, that starts with him taking full ownership and accountability of what his role is, truly understanding it, and, pouring his everything into it. I mean, this is a guy, every single, post-practice, he's working on the craft. He has a process that he goes through, and as a result, everyone's seeing the results. So,
Guys have talked about how tight-knit your unit is for years now. Just what stands out to you about the camaraderie of this specific group?
Yeah, it's funny because you got a good mix of really. A majority of these guys are rookies, really 3 years kind of in a way, really with your BAs and IPs. A majority of the units is made up of really all these young guys out here with a little sprinkle of the Trent Sherfields to kind of lead the way and being that kind of vet leadership of kind of showing these guys what it looks like. And now you kind of get BA coming on strong of kind of being that guy of helping the Bo Richters out and the Dallas Turners out, kind of showing those guys a way. And obviously you got CJ Ham, who's been doing it at elite level for a long time. But, we talk all the time about just chemistry, man. Chemistry, connection, building this unit to where, guys trust one another. They're able to hold each other to a certain level. And, we say all the time, great teams have a unwavering standard. And these guys have an unwavering standard that you really appreciate. They push each other, they grind with each other, and I don't always have to be the bad guy. So that's the encouraging thing about these guys.
How do you approach these games with Will Reichard as the stakes go up?
You approach it the same, man. I mean, this guy is, again, stone cold killer, man. Every single game is the exact same to him. Every kick is the exact same to him. No moment is too big. And, that's why you appreciate a guy coming out of Alabama who has played in the biggest and highest stakes of games, national championships. Won them. Obviously, he had the Michigan college football playoff, knocked through 2 50-plus yard field goals, allowed him to go on and win that football game there. But no moment is ever too big for Will, which is what you appreciate. And, he goes about it. His process is everything. His mental fortitude is everything. I mean, this guy is what you look for and what you want in a kicker. I can't say enough great things about this guy. He's sometimes I forget he's a rookie. Cool. Appreciate y'all.